Hello everyone, welcome to Raw vs. Wrestling for Monday Night Raw, January 9th, 2012. Sorry, I botched it up a little bit at the beginning there. And I'm going to go off and start this review at the aspect that this show was more storyline driven and building the stories versus having in-ring action this week. So there was a lot more talk versus a lot more in-ring action. I will go over the in-ring action, and I'll go off and start it off with the Sheamus and Santino Marella versus Jinder Mahal and Wade Barrett. Honestly, this was just a throwaway match to maybe build the feud up a little bit more. Hopefully, it's not with Jinder Mahal and Sheamus, it's with Wade Barrett and Sheamus. In the end, I feel that would probably be a better feud, and it would probably be a lot better feud. It's something I hope to see Sheamus in that feud, because Sheamus does need a feud, and hopefully this will be the one. And but for the match itself, it was kind of just a throwaway match in my mind. It wasn't a horrible match. It was just kind of there. It wasn't anything spectacular. And now I'm going to go off and I'm going to talk about the debut of Brutus Clay. They've been talking about this debut for weeks, and probably actually a good month and a half now. And honestly, what we ended up getting was, well, not what many people expected. I mean, it was somewhat what you would expect. It was big guy dominating the match, and well, honestly, you were expecting probably a monster heel versus a monster face, and it does come off kind of facious with what they did. They call him the Funkasaurus, and like I said, it wasn't what many people were expecting. I'm gonna hold back all some reservations on the whole turning them into the whole Grandmaster Funk, or essentially with his theme music. It was a Ernest the Cat Miller sighting on Monday Night Raw this week for that one. And I'm going to make full judgment on that in maybe in a few weeks or so here. Initial impressions, I didn't really care for it all that much. Maybe it was because I was expecting something different, or maybe it's just because I didn't feel like it was good to begin with. But initial impressions, I'm not caring much for it. We'll get full-on impressions in the upcoming weeks as they continue to use them. The whole Jack Swagger and CM Punk match this week, it was obviously to build a little bit more into the match with Dolph Ziggler and CM Punk going into the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And if they threw the stip in there, if CM Punk won the match, Jack Swagger and Vicky Guerrero would be barred from ringside at the pay-per-view match. And the match itself was actually really good, at least until the ending, unless they're going to use this as a storyline bit where the ending seemed kind of botched, at least in the terms of by the referee, because it looked like Punk wanted. It looked like they were going to continue on with the match, but the referee called for the end of the match then and there. So who knows if that was a botch ending, or if that was going to be something they're going to use in a storyline later. Maybe they'll use that for a storyline next week to give Jack Swagger another chance, and they'll end up having another match. But we'll see where they actually go with it. The match itself, up until that point, was an excellent match. I thought it was extremely well done, and it flowed really well, and I felt it was I'm kind of losing my words there. It's just, I felt like sorry, I'm screwing that up. I just felt like it was a good match in general, and hopefully we'll get to see more matches here in the near future. Now that I think about it offhand, they won't be doing that match again next week, because they're going to have Zack Ryder and Jack Swagger for the U.S. title, so maybe they'll use that somewhere else down the road. Either that, or it was just a botch ending. Speaking of Zack Ryder, he was once again in the storyline with John Cena, with the whole Kane and John Cena storyline here. And it fell under the aspect that, they started off the show with Kane coming out and talking about how Cena should embrace the hate, how many people should embrace the hate that they let fester inside of them. And the promo itself, I felt, wasn't too bad. I'm shocked that they're letting Kane talk a little bit more than what they've ever really let him talk in the past, because he's not all that great on the mic. He's come off pretty decent in this case. Nothing great on the mic, in my mind, though. Cena comes out, attacks him, and they brawl to the back. Eventually Kane gets away, and they were showing tidbits the rest of the night with with Zack Ryder meeting up with Eve, or in the bathroom, or talking with John Cena. He's constantly looking over his shoulder, expecting Kane to attack. Eventually they do have him come, or eventually they do something where it seemed like Eve was coming out for a match. Kane's pyro and music goes off. Zack Ryder gets her out of there, and they try to get out of the arena area, and you have the flat tire. And throughout the whole match that they had with Dolph Ziggler and John Cena, you have Zack Ryder kind of trying to get the tire changed out and trying to get out of there. You obviously knew there were going to be somewhere there to have Kane jump in eventually, which he did, and it came off. At least in my mind, it came off pretty well. You have Kane attack Zack Ryder, and he chokeslams him pretty much on the pallet right below where the initial fight with him and Cena ended earlier in the night. Cena leaves the match, tries to go check on Zack Ryder. He gets attacked, he gets smothered out again, and they pretty much end the show on that. All in all, for that entire storyline, like I said, this show is probably more storyline driven than it was in-ring action driven. And in this case, in some areas of this, it was probably a lot better than what you would think. It wasn't horrible. It did feel like it was necessary. It builds the feuds going into the future and into the pay-per-view. And the show itself, it came off decent. It didn't really come off as anything great, but it definitely did what it needed to do, which was build these feuds here in the near future. Obviously Cena and Kane, and adding a nice little tidbit, he's going after his good buddy Zack Ryder, and Cena's good buddy Zack Ryder with Kane and Kane in there, and adding that in there, it feels like it helps that storyline, because it gives something for Cena to continually try to do. Maybe it will lead in, or someone to try to continually save in this area. Maybe it'll lead into a Cena heel turn. Maybe it won't. Who knows what they'll actually do? Maybe this will lead into something going into the WrestleMania pay-per-view right before he has to fully go into the feud with The Rock. But all in all, the show itself was decent. It wasn't anything great. And that's pretty much all I have, and I thank you guys for watching this, and the next time you'll probably see me do another review is when TNA Impact happens this week.